Now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Hello and welcome to the Fmg podcast. I know what you're thinking. I'm not Patrick Jones. We've sent Patrick to the judiciary this week and he's got a few weeks out, basically taking one for the team after our poor tips from last week. But I'm here, Richard Laddie. I'm here joined as always by Paul Moana. Paul, how are you?
To be fair, we should all be in front of the judiciary after our results from last week.
Very, very tough week here. We were just saying to Paul, I had a look through the tips before. I think between us, we got one of our best bets up. One of all our bets up. And we got, Paul got 0 tips at the line. I got 1 and Patrick got 3. So we're going to do our best and try sort of onwards and upwards from here. But yeah, before we sort of look into this week, we will look back on last week and that very tough tipping round that we had. We'll start off talking about what was sort of we called the game of the week, and sort of lived up to a bit of expectation. Probably expected a little bit more from the home side, but Brumbies versus Crusaders. What do you think? Does this show the Brumbies aren't quite there, or just an off night for them?
Look, I think we've been a wee bit harsh on the Brumbies because I thought we saw the Crusaders of old back again.
Yeah.
And it's very, very hard for any team to stick with the Crusaders when they're in that sort of mood, when they're in that sort of form. And it's the right time for the Crusaders to be starting to step things up, and they did that, especially in that first half. Even though the Brumbies scored first, and I thought the second five, Simone, he was very, very good for the Brumbies, but just the Crusaders, they put the foot down, they built a big lead. And then every time the Brumbies bounced back in the second half, Crusaders pretty much had an answer straight away. And that's the Crusaders team that I remember from years and years ago. So the signs are looking good for Crusader fans. But I wouldn't throw the Brumbies out with the bathwater just yet. They are a very, very good team.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I thought the same about Crusaders, that we finally saw them at their best. We saw what those backs can do, like Jordan and Reese, some absolute freaks in there. And Brumbies, started strong, but they just sort of couldn't quite keep up with it. They're probably missing Lolosio, I thought. Iona had a mixed game. I think the second half he played quite well, but that first half he had a few mistakes, which the Crusaders capitalised on and just can't afford to. I think it was a charge down, and then he had that sort of loose pass, which I think that's when Reese scored his try.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So
and Lolosio, I underestimated how much of a loss he was going to be. He is a big part of that Brumbies team. So when he comes back,
he's better this week.
They're a much better.
Huge.
They're a much, much better side.
Yeah, I thought the same. So I said the Crusaders' best game of the year, probably with that big win they had over the Chiefs. Now into $2.20 in the outright market. Yeah, you chasing it?
I've been on all season.
Yeah. After that performance, I'm
quite happy with where we are at the moment, and I look forward to the big grand final at Eden Park.
Yeah, you'd imagine so at the moment, wouldn't you?
It'll be a fantastic event.
Yeah.
If it happens, it'll be a fantastic event.
Yeah,
because they'll be able to
a few
pack
numbers
it out.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. They will pack it out, and if they had it down in Christchurch, well, obviously they pack it out because the stadium's a lot smaller down there. So I think the fact if the Blues, and I can't see them not finishing top now with only a couple of weeks to go.
No.
And so they should get a nice trip through the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And if the cream does rise to the top, we'll see a Blues Crusaders final at Eden Park.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, it's good to see the Crusaders. A few of the back row in particular, I thought really starting to fire. I think they've really settled on that combination of Matera, Blackadder, and
it's taken him a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. Matera's playing brilliant. He really took a while which is a shame. Which is surprising because he has obviously played a lot of Super Rugby, but maybe just a few years out. Yeah, different system. Not kind of being he was sort of the leader in that Yaguari's team, but yeah, great to see. And Moana probably had I don't know, close to his best game of the season as well.
100%.
Yeah,
he's,
1,000 points in the comp.
He's
so
playing with a lot of confidence.
I feel like he's done that really quickly. 1,000 points in the comp. Like,
Well,
I was surprised.
I guess when you've been playing for a Crusaders team, it scores a few points,
and he scores quite a few tries as well.
You're the one he does, and you're the one who takes the kicks. You're a chance of scoring a few points. So, yeah. But you're right. I think because the Crusaders have that system where they bring players in and they sort of get them ingrained into how things are run. Matera didn't have as much time in that system before he jumped on the park, sort of thing. He was like thrust straight in, and it's just taken him a little more time than others. So, but now we're seeing that he's a smart buy.
Yeah, I know that. You look at it when they've got their sort of strongest team out on paper. It's very hard to see. Well, you can imagine it's going to be a Blues Crusaders final now, but
I'm sure
stranger things have happened.
I'm sure Chiefs fans.
We'll get to the Chiefs. There's plenty to talk about from their game of the weekend. But next game we'll sort of wrap into is Friday night, Forsyth Bar, Highlanders versus Force. I was thought the line was far too big in this game. I think you obviously did too.
Yep.
And we both well proved wrong.
Well wrong.
Highlanders peaking at the right time.
They certainly are coming right at the right. The problem is they haven't showed that sort of form against New Zealand teams.
Yeah.
So it's good to see them out. I thought they were just too physical for the Force, especially around the breakdowns. They did so well to secure ball, turnover ball, and the ball that they did have, they used. They created opportunities. They started to. The back line, I don't know, the back line looked a wee bit sharper last weekend. And I don't know if it was because there was maybe someone in the number 10 jersey who was, I don't know.
We'll say, I'll just have a quick check. I don't think we've got a Highlanders team yet for this weekend, but I will be interested to see whether Sam Gilbert gets the call up again, because he sort of put his mark on the game pretty early. I think he had a try assist. It was either the first or second try. He had that try assist.
He looked very, very good.
Taking the ball to the line, some really nice offloads. So, it'd be interesting to see what happens there, because, both sort of Hunt and Banks haven't really been kind of, Hunt, they sort of threw their, chips into there with Hunt, and he sort of hasn't lived up to that sort of expectation yet. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Gilbert start again at 10.
I think you have to after that performance.
Yeah, and it is against sort of better opposition. I think Waratahs. They're playing some good footy, but we'll see. No Highlanders team yet, so we'll see what happens there. But just for the record, before the teams announced, we both sort of wouldn't be surprised to see Gilbert there. He's 8 from 8 in the tee as well, so
always helps.
Always helps.
Always helps.
Yeah.
Michaeli too was
huge. Yeah, massive. Aaron Smith had probably one of his best games of the season. I thought he just sort of brought some urgency, and it's hard to look too much into it. I think I haven't actually been. I've been pretty high in the Force. I sort of said they're a team that don't give up, and they try really hard, and they've got a pretty good record covering this season. But
they were poor.
51 points.
They were poor.
Yeah.
They weren't helped by the Kahui send off. But I don't know. Send off?
I don't think so. Well, he's playing this week, so
maybe
yellow.
I thought he was hard done by.
Yeah. It was one of those ones, where it was just sort of was it Hunt? He was sort of coming down, and
For mine, there were mitigating factors.
Yeah, it was definitely mitigating factors. Yeah, I was surprised to see. But yellow would have been completely fine with. And the fact that he's played this week probably means that they're saying someone's made it.
We've probably erred on
that. They're already having a hard time, and we made it a bit harder for them. So, Michaeli Tu'u, I think every week he's just getting better and better. He got 2 tries last week. He's such a good ball runner. So if he can, which is good with Frizzell sort of out for Highlanders, he's kind of taking that enforcer role.
Yeah, he is. He's done it very, very well. He wasn't the only one who scored a double.
Who else?
The hooker.
Oh, yeah, of course. His first try score, wasn't he?
We love the hookers on the pick and go.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I thought, Omega Jensen had a great game. Billy Harmon. So there's a few guys in that Highlanders team. I wouldn't, it's hard to sort of look so much into a win like that against the Force, but I think more just for their confidence, having winning 3 on the trot. They only just got past the Drawer in that game, but they looked really good in that Reds game, and now they've sort of put that performance against the Force. Just had a shout out to the punter who had $100 on Hines is 51 plus. They won by 50.
Oh.
Paying $31.
Oh,
Nice little $3,000 return there. So
wait, he won.
yeah, 51 plus. So,
Oh, 51 plus.
Yeah. The winning team margin 10 points. So there's a few big favourites this week. So there could be some value in the 51 plus markets this week for the punters. So here, next one, Drawer, Moana Pacifica. Oh, anything more about Highlanders Force? Sorry.
No, just the fact that, look, the Highlanders are looking good against Australian opposition, but we've yet to see that against New Zealand opposition. So certainly they're on the upward, but they really haven't had the acid test yet. It's, that'll come, obviously, and they'll be a dangerous side.
Well, they'll have confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, their big players are starting to step up and are looking good. And it looks like they found the right combinations now. Well, once again, they'll take another step this weekend. We'll be able to get a better picture of just where they stand. But until they actually line up against one of the New Zealand sides, they're a good team. And they'll be good in the knockout stages because they can put a big performance together and upset. I'm sure they can upset a New Zealand team. Yeah, they can.
They'll definitely still be big underdogs, and obviously won't be playing at home because the best they can probably finish is about 6th or 7th, I think. So, but they were 3 or 4 weeks ago. We were saying, quarterfinals, but no, they've sort of put all that to rest, and another couple of big performances in the next couple of weeks might have them sort of on a roll coming into the finals. During Moana Pacifica Saturday afternoon, we were all quite high on the Moana Pacifica, weren't we? And the game kind of lived up to the expectation. There was excitement. There were some good tries. Sort of probably the shame that Moana Pacifica probably couldn't put. They were never really in it, were they? The Drawer sort of just got a couple of early tries, and Moana Pacifica were always chasing. They about halfway through this, in the second half, it got a little bit closer. But
it's hard for any team to give up 2 tries inside the first 10 minutes. Yeah. And then try to go on and win the game. It's very, very hard. And I got to say, I was a wee bit disappointed with the game overall. I mean, there were some brilliant tries scored, nice try, but there were far too many mistakes from both sides. But Moana Pacifica in particular, just far too many mistakes. And at this level, you're not going to win too many games if you're making those sort of mistakes. So I thought Moana, they really did miss the midfield combination with Levi Omua out because of it was disciplinary reasons. So he wasn't
disciplinary,
injured.
Was that?
I believe it was disciplinary reasons. So him and Danny, Danny Tuala still, I thought was one of the best on the field out of both teams, but he really did miss his mate Omua in that midfield. So
I think Omua was out this week as well. So
more discipline.
More discipline, maybe.
Crikey. I'm looking for bright spots in terms of Moana Pacifica, and I guess Lealiafano, when he came on, I thought made a wee bit of, I thought they missed him earlier, and I think they would have had a wee bit more structure if he had been on from the start. So they certainly missed him. Tava Nawai, I thought was
so good,
big again.
He's amazing. He's just one of those players. Yeah, I didn't realize until a couple of weeks ago that it was visa issues, which was the reason he wasn't playing at the start of the season. Because really? Obviously in the NPC last year, he was one of the finds of the year, and it's like, why aren't they starting him? But he's well and truly got that left wing for the Drawer sorted, and he went over for a try and got one disallowed on
So he's
dodgy full pass. So
and for the Drawer, they were the better team on the day.
Absolutely.
And they deserved their win. I thought Ravovo once again stood up. He's a magical player. I really like the look of that. I think he'd slot into a number of New Zealand Super Rugby squads and not look out of place. Very, very good player. But overall, I was just disappointed with the amount of errors in that game. It was just that meant that both teams sort of struggled for sort of momentum at most times during the game. But
Yeah, maybe the sort of the occasion, there was the sort of the hackers at the start, the walnuts at the start,
that's
and that sort
possible.
of thing. So maybe just the occasion, and I don't know, maybe if the game we talked about last week, if the game was in Suva or at Mount Smart, maybe the atmosphere would have been a little bit more electric. But yeah,
big time. Suva, they've got to have more games next season.
Yeah. They'll be next week, aren't they? Yeah, against the Chiefs. Yeah. So next up, Blues Reds, big ones for the Blues.
Wow,
yeah, they really put a bit of a statement there, eh? I was sort of once again pretty high on the Reds. Well, I thought the point start was over 20, wasn't it? 20 and a half, 21 and a half or something. Thought I just can't, I thought the Reds are better than that. I thought they'd sort of bounce back from the loss to the Highlanders, but the Reds look like they're in a bit of strife there, really, eh? Oh, and the Blues, they've just last 2 weeks at home, they've just played some electric footy.
The Reds may not be the second best team in Australia now. They, although they've come up against some big performances from the teams that they've met over the last couple of weeks. But I thought, boy, the Blues are looking really, really good.
Yeah,
even
with Rico going off early as well.
That's a big thing. Rico goes off early. Bryce Heem slots in, and it's like he's been training in that position all week to start. He scores a first try with a beautiful angled run.
Yeah.
And you think...
He got a double in the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think there was no sort of breakdown in play whatsoever. It was seamless. He comes in, bam, cut, boom, try, and they just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. To be fair to the Reds, they did bounce back a number of times and scored some couple of tries. I thought the fullback...
They scored some great tries.
Yep. What's his name? Jock
Campbell, was it?
Campbell. Yeah. Thought positionally, he was very, very good. He slotted in where he should have been.
Another double.
Yep.
A few doubles in the weekend, actually.
But once again, the Blue and that back line. Have a look at that back line. Barrett, he is back to his best. Perofeta, he's looking very, very good. RTS, I thought, probably had his best game of the season in the back line there.
That sort of running made up the guts, and then
Caleb Clark
later on.
He's now, he sort of had an off season and started slowly this season. No, he's back as well.
He doesn't mind getting his hands dirty as well. He scored that try from the ruck and all that. Exactly. He gets in there, and he really he's a big body.
We weren't seeing that from him
last year.
Right? Yeah. We just it was like he was sort of drifting in and out of games, but he's looking for work now. And as you say, he's got the physique to do some damage, and he did. So the Blues are looking very, very good, and I can understand why they've got that lead at the top of the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I just had a look before, actually. The Waratahs are actually ahead of the Reds on the table as well. So maybe that's a sign that maybe the Waratahs are the second best team. I was pretty heartbroken about I thought we might have been in for a backdoor cover there, The Reds were hot on attack in the 81st minute. And then I think it was Angus Young knocked on about 2 minutes out from the line. So sort of had that running through a few multis. But
it was that sort of weekend.
Yeah, it was actually. There was a couple of potential backdoor covers, but not to be. Yeah, that Blues backline, honestly, I know Rico's out, but as you said, Heem, I presume there's no Blues team at the moment, but I presume he'd slot into 13, or they might try something different. But with the way they played last week, it's a game that they don't want to lose. They probably don't want to lose. It's a huge battle going over to Canberra. And the Crusaders have sort of made their statement, so I'll be interested to see what the Blues do. But there'd be no reason for them to sort of pick a below par team. So we'll see. Beautiful. And our beloved Canes on Saturday night, was it? More concerned by the Canes slow start, or impressed that they sort of have come back for what seems like about the fourth or fifth time this season?
Can I just say that without Artie Severe, the Canes would be challenging for the wooden spoon. He is immense. He is ridiculous. When they name the All Black side, the first name that should be written down should be Artie Severe. Yeah. He has been ridiculously good. His work rate is
phenomenal.
I don't know a player who has the same sort of work, because he's got to carry that team for big parts of the game. He's got speed, he's got strength. He scored tries where he's beaten 2 or 3 players and then carried another 2 or 3 over the line with him. He's just look, and he pops up at the right time as well. He scored that try against the Tars. He was
Did you
just
see like that try he scored? 20 seconds before that, he was on the ground,
Exactly.
grabbing his leg, and
Yeah.
he just gets up, and the leg drop. He was obviously a bit sort of under the weather. Like there was obviously a little niggle or something, but the leg drive, just the mentality that he has was just incredible. Yeah.
his motor is ridiculous. If scientists are looking for a solution to perpetual motion, they should take Artie Severe's DNA. He does not stop. As you say, he's on the ground, holding his leg. Next thing, he's carrying 4 or 5 players over the line, scoring a try that wins
a match winning try. Yeah, not just a try they needed. And it's a game that. So whether they were down 15, maybe even 18-0, was
15-0.
Yeah, 15-0 half time.
So they hardly touched the ball in that first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I had a stat here: 20%, 94% possession at Waratahs had in the first 20 minutes.
It was
yeah.
So that
Waratahs probably should have been leading by more.
They should have, and it means that the Hurricanes were playing a lot of defense, making a lot of tackles, and towards the end of the game, that can come back and bite you. But as we saw with Artie, nothing like that. That doesn't matter. So once again, he was huge. Player of the match, easily. But the big thing I thought that I noticed, the Canes really struggled at set piece time in that first half. And I saw a huge change when Owen Franks and Dane Coles and Tavita Muffy-Leo, when they came on.
The props came on in the first half, didn't they?
Yes.
Right. You don't see that every week.
No, you don't. And they had to make that change.
Yeah.
Because the Waratahs pack was
all over them,
absolutely dominant. They came on, and then we got at least parity. At least parity. So I don't know how they arrange that in the coming weeks, but Owen Franks and Muffy-Leo, they're huge.
Yeah.
For that. And that makes the Hurricanes a wee bit more dangerous when we get to the playoffs once again.
Yeah.
Because the one place where they have fallen down has been that set piece. Not just the scrums, lineouts too have been a wee bit shaky, but with Dane Coles coming back as well, that gives them a wee bit more solidity in those parts of the game. So that was a good thing to see if you're a Hurricanes fan. The fact that the scrum finally looked like a scrum that could, at the very least, hold its own.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're not going to be able to rely on these, going down by 14.
Not against
17
not against Crusaders or against the Blues or against the no.
They really need to sort that out. I mean, I still don't think we haven't. I think they've named a new back line again this week, so they don't know. They've got no idea what they're.
So we're still. This is every week.
Yeah.
How many weeks in are we?
I'm pretty sure that they've got.
What are we? 13 or 14 weeks in.
They've got Ruben Love at fullback and Morgan at 10. I'm pretty sure those two haven't both started together.
I've got to say.
And then Sullivan's out of 13. They put Proctor there. Geordie's back in 12. So yeah,
I don't like Geordie in 12.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Making the call?
I don't. I mean, he's still a good player at 12, but his best position is 15.
Yeah.
And I think they get the best out of him in the 15.
So would you still be going TJ, Ruben Love, Umaga Jensen, Sullivan,
yep,
Rayasi, Hoosen, or Savia?
Rayasi definitely on one wing,
yeah,
and then the other wing either Hoosen or Savia,
and then
Geordie at the back.
Yeah, I think you're right there. So if you're listening, Hurricanes coaching staff, it's the pick and go hot takes on how to do your job. Nothing much to say about that.
Tars though.
Oh, they played some good footy. Yeah.
They did. Who was it?
Parisi, yeah. He's out
they missed him when he went off.
Yeah.
They did miss him. He was
the second week, and like against Moana Pacifica, I think he scored one and set up, and nearly set up what would have been the try of the year. Like
exactly,
he's a dangerous ball runner, and got a really nice offload, and one to sort of hopefully that he'll be sort of fit and firing. I think there was some concern from the Wallabies, so I think he's probably may have been a serious injury. It may have been after the season.
ACL.
Oh, the ACL was.
Well, the last time I looked, they thought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know how severe though.
Yeah, he will not be playing if that's the case.
But he was fantastic for the Tars. I thought that Warren Vosiako, he's a great. Oh, I just love it. He just seems to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, the for mine, the Waratahs are the most improved team in Super Rugby.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they didn't win for
No,
2 years or something.
no.
You know, like,
And now they're sort of,
they've been the Crusaders. Probably they should have won it. You know, like it wasn't for sort of
Artie Severe.
Severe magic, brilliance for the
They win
It
two
must
weeks.
be the fourth time this season that the Warriors, not the Hurricanes have come back from a big loss like that. I think maybe the Blues game, Reds, or maybe third. Yeah, but like when they've come back from 2+ try, sort of been down.
Yeah, well,
So good on them for having that sort of
that Blues game.
Yeah,
They shouldn't have been anywhere near the Blues.
No.
The Blues, they had a double-digit lead with about 7 or 8 minutes to go. You don't let a team come back from that.
and the Blues have bounced back from that. You know, they haven't lost since. So we'll see. So final game of that round, Rebels Chiefs in Amy Stadium, Amy Park.
Talk about getting out of jail.
Saturday afternoon. Do we need to start worrying about the Chiefs, or is that just sort of a one-off? They're still waiting to get their big guns back and for them to get the minutes.
Well, it's not a one-off though, is it? They haven't really performed at their best for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
So it's a concern. It's definitely a concern. There's still a couple more weeks before we hit the playoffs, so they've still got time to turn it round. But they struggle to put plays together.
Yeah.
I
was watching that game and I just sort of thought, oh no, here we go. You know, every time they score a try, but here we go.
Now they're going to run on.
Yeah. And they were just making errors. Like Ioane I think he sort of made up for it at the end. He sort of had a pretty massive hand in that last try, but he threw that intercept and had that pass at the back, which was that one Callaway got onto, and Callaway chipped ahead and scored.
It's a game.
They were giving away they gave away 3 tries basically. There was the intercept, Callaway, and then there was Reece Hodges one where just that bounced the ball, and so it's a game they'd rather forget. They do sort of still getting their sort of these big names back. I mean, Josh Ioane hadn't played for about 4 or 5 weeks. Weber's much the same. So, and the Rebels had been beaten by the Blues by 45 points the week before, and an absolutely abysmal performance. So shout out to the Rebels for bouncing back and having that, being able to have that mentality. I think I read that the coach was still pretty optimistic. You know, he was still pretty positive, as you can admit. You know, they would have liked to win, but like he was still saying like, I really like what I saw, and and you know they were 24.5 favourites. The Chiefs were, and they only took a 82nd minute from Ollie Norris to get over the line. So they got the points. So they remain in the top 4. I think if they'd lost that, the Hurricanes would have been ahead of them in the top 4. So it's probably massive for them, you know, being able to have that home advantage, even though they have lost 3 games at home this season.
Huge. That's huge for them.
Yeah. Keeping there. So they'll have to sort of bounce back and sort of see what they can do this week. Anything else from that Rebels Chiefs game or from round 13?
No, not really. Just the fact that the Blues and the Crusaders are starting to hit their straps and are looking very, very dangerous. That doesn't mean that other teams can't improve over the next fortnight, but at the moment, Blues and Crusaders,
they both just seem to be coming right at the, they've probably been the two of the 3 competition front runners this season, but from those performances in the weekend, they really kind of, they were statement performances, weren't they? I think the Crusaders could have won by 20, 25 in that game. I thought that they took
the foot off the pedal slightly in the second half, but
and they got
you can do that when you got a big lead.
Late, in the 72nd, 73rd minute. Tom Wright got that. So scary to think what they could do, and I don't know whether we're going to see those 2 in the final. We'll see, I'm sure. Looking forward to round 14, Friday night at Orange Series Stadium. Crusaders Drawer. Crusaders 30.5-point favourites. Crusaders have named their team.
No Cody Taylor?
No Cody Taylor. No Richie Moana. No Will Jordan.
I'm tempted to take the plus 30.
Yeah, same. I sort of did a bit of research yesterday, and I've written down, depends which team the Crusaders name. And I think with no Taylor, those 3 players out, particularly Moana, I feel like if Moana played in this game, he may have had a bit of a field day, and but
Remember they did this against Moana Pacifica earlier on in the season, and they rested a number of players, and Moana Pacifica were in it for a huge part of that game.
That was the game that we famously declared Crusaders the bet of the year. It was the point start line kept going down, and we couldn't figure it out. But yeah, and they've rested a few of the front rowers as well. I think Fletcher Newell played last week, but yeah, Oliaga gets a break. Ricky Jackson playing hooker. I think was about their 4th or 5th string hooker at the start of the season. So Barrett's playing on the blind side. So we all know how that's ended up in the past. So see what happens there. Materi's getting the rest as well. I feel like Materi's probably someone who may have had a bit of a field day if he played. So
you've convinced me.
Yeah, I'm sort of I mean, we do have a lot of love for the Drawer on this podcast traditionally. So hopefully Patrick's listening and he can kind of be proud of us and what we're sort of doing here. But yeah, I had the same point. Remember what happened against Moana Pacifica down there? They sort of sent out a second string team. That was a comfortable win in the end, but it was still only about 20 points.
Yep, that's when the big boys came on in the second half for the Crusaders. That's when they started. In fact, did Cody Taylor come in that second half against Moana Pacific, and then he scored a try or two?
Yeah, double, I think. Yeah,
he did. Yeah, in the last sort of, he only came on with about 20-25 minutes to go and scored a double.
Very quick cowball as well from memory. He's not on the bench either, so they can't rely on that. There is plenty to be excited about on the wings, though, from both teams. So we've got Super Reese and Whainganuku for the Crusaders, and we've got Habosi and Ravu Taumata for the Drawer. So Habosi will be up against Reese, I think. So
nice.
Should be a nice little matchup there. A few little same game multis. Yeah, the Drawer sort of. I mean, they would have taken confidence from that win last week as well. So, and they've been a pretty strong team from what I can sort of what I can see here. So, I think we're in for excitement, a few points, and hopefully the Drawer can just play that sort of positive brand and just really give it to the Crusaders. The Crusaders still do have a pretty solid sort of back line, apart from Moana out, Hall halfback, and Goodhue and Inor in the centres. But I still don't think we've seen the best of either Goodhue and Inor sort of coming back. Havili has been getting better and better every week, so the fact he's out, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I quite like the +13.5 myself. Anything else on that game you want to point out? You want to shout out?
No, you've convinced me. Fmg Drawer.
Love it.
+30.5.
You heard it here first. Later on Friday night at Suncorp Stadium, we've got Reds versus Moana Pacifica. The Reds 16.5 point favourites here. We'll sort of mentioned the Reds before. They're in a bit of a rut, but Moana Pacifica probably also in a bit of a rut themselves. You jumping on the -16.5 on the
I'm
Reds
not sure. Well, have we got teams named yet?
We do have teams named. Bring them up here.
So no Omua in the midfield again.
No, Omoa, Kata and Tawala. William Havili.
Afano?
He's starting, yep.
Okay.
With Tamatini, Timmy Sowers and Funaki and Tuipulotu in the back row. For the Reds, they've got a pretty strong back line. They've gone, I think, about the same as what they had last week.
I thought even though they got a few points put on them by the Blues last week, I thought O'Connor, he looked okay. He made them better.
Yeah.
And
they scored some great tries.
They did, and he'll be much better. First game back after a while. I don't know. The line seems pretty much where it should. I'm not leaning either way at the moment. If I had to have a bet, I'd probably go Reds -16.5. Okay, I'd probably lean that way.
Yeah, it might be one of those ones for the Reds where, like, I hope that Moana Pacifica can kind of come out and put on a bit of a show. But the Reds have had a couple of tough weeks. They've lost 3 in a row against New Zealand opposition. Or was it 4? 3 or 4? And coming off that loss against the Blues, that would have sort of hurt. It was about 30-point loss in the end. I'm sort of with you here. I think it might be a hard one for Moana Pacifica. And O'Connor might have a field day with the likes of Batire and Vunivalu on the wings, Campbell at fullback, Hamish Stewart. I think he played against the Hurricanes. I think I recall you shouting him out in that game. I thought he had a really good game as well. So we'll see. They've got Delgado on the bench to sort of rely on as well. So yeah,
Yep.
might be a long night for the Moana Pacifica there. But we'll see. Anything else on that game you want to touch on, or we're happy to move on to Saturday Arvo?
No, but it is a big game for the Reds for them to sort of hold the position, or if other results go their way, they might jump a wee bit further up into the top 8.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be really wanting to, I don't know, not play against the likes of the Crusaders and the Blues and the Brumbies if they can. So yeah, like a fifth is the only place they can get for that. You definitely rather be playing the Hurricanes in Wellington than either of those other 3 teams at home, mate. Yeah. Next up, Saturday afternoon, Fmg Chiefs. We're expecting a big bounce back as 24.5-point favourites versus the Force.
I am.
You are? Yeah.
I am.
Oh. They've got a pretty good record against the Force. Very good record. Won 8 of the last 9 versus the Force, and they've won 4 straight. There was 2019 last year they won, but I think that was the game that Reds had a couple of red cards, sort of that affected the game, and it was over in Perth too. So the Force, yeah, they were pretty bad against the Highlanders. I was expecting a lot more from them. And what else have I got? The Chiefs have already lost 3 at home this season, and they've only covered 4 of the last 11 at FMG and 6 of the last 16 as favourites. So they against the spread stats aren't great for the Chiefs, but they have had some. Yeah, they've won quite plenty against the Force.
The Force are a spent force.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
not high on them.
No, they're gone.
Yeah,
I can't see them. I can't see them getting close. I know the Chiefs haven't been very, very good over that. This is a game where I think they start to turn things around before they hit the playoffs. So
yeah,
I see another big victory here against the Force.
Well, the Force will be hurting. They had big losses to the Crusaders, big losses to the Highlanders. They sort of managed to keep in that game against the Blues, but that was in Perth. It's worth pointing out, So yeah, it's a big line, but the Force were not very good last week, and yeah, I think the Chiefs will be looking at this one to really play themselves into some confidence with a big sort of hopefully 3 or 4 weeks ahead for them. So I think I'll probably be doing the same, but we'll see what I might change my mind by the time we sort of get there. Force do have a good record when underdogs of 10 or more. They've covered 9 of the last 13, but they did not cover. They did not even get close to covering last week. So
that was one of the 4 of the 13 that they didn't cover.
Yeah. So yeah, take of that what you will. Next up, Saturday night, Sky Stadium. Are you heading along?
I'll be close to the stadium, but I won't be quite there. No.
I got the big birthday party.
Big birthday party. Yeah.
Right.
Happy birthday, Supermodel.
Happy birthday, Supermodel. Hope you have a good 50th. Hurricanes 19.5-point favourites. I hate backing the Hurricanes as favourites this big, but I think I'm going to do it this week.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe the overreaction from that Rebels. I think they were good against the Chiefs, but the Chiefs really kept them in the game. They gave them 3 or 4 tries pretty much. That was talked about before, the intercept and that sort of pass from Ioane that went out the back and that lucky bounce for Hodge. Hurricanes named a pretty good team. No Artie, unfortunately. So that might
give me the Rebels plus 19.5, please.
That's true. I've just sort of realised that I sort of made my notes before I knew that Artie Sevilla wasn't playing. Geordie's back at 12. Got Morgan at 10 and Ruben Love. Ruben Love back at 15. Yeah, so the dream's still alive. Another new Hurricanes back line there. Just bring up the team here. Yeah, Morgan at 10. I'm still not sold on, but he's probably been playing better than Garden Bishop. So
he's not even on the bench.
No, they're giving him another week off because he had a week off against the Drawer as well, didn't he?
He did.
So maybe he had a little niggle when he just got Amoa and Franks come off the bench with Coles, Muffaleo, and Lomax starting. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's sort of one of those ones. The Hurricanes have won 8 straight against the Rebels, and there's been some massive margins in there: 22 points, 31, 65, 25, 24, and 42. Over 19 and a half of those over 9.5 point margin in 5 of those 8 games. And the average margin of those 8 games has been 28.62 and 32.6 when the Canes are at home. So they have had I think a 42 and a 65.1 in the last sort of probably 4 or 5 years against the Rebels at home. So yeah,
No Artie, no cover.
we wanted to put an 18-minute performance. Well, has the line moved actually? Because maybe since the
I'll tell you what,
may have moved since the teams have been.
Canes are currently $1.09 head to head, and point start they are 19.5 still.
Yeah, hasn't moved. Sort of surprised about that. I thought Artie probably deserves about 3 or 4 points himself in the point start market, but Rebels, they've been a bit hit and miss. Bounced back well from their loss to the Blues. They've covered 6 of the last 8, and 2 of the last 3 versus New Zealand opposition, and 11 of the last 15 versus New Zealand opposition. Oh, that's 2 or 3 this year, and 11 of the last 15 overall against New Zealand teams. But I just think Canes at home. I thought with no Artie against the Drawer, maybe the Drawer would put up a bit of a fight, but the Canes sort of run away with that and got about a 40-50 point win there. Same thing happening against Moana Pacifica. The second time they played, they sort of reached a couple of the big guns. I just think this Hurricanes team will be too good at home for the loyal fans that get out on. I think it's supposed to be a pretty cold
Night.
May night and autumn night in Wellington. So we'll see.
We'll
no
agree to
Artie, no
disagree.
cover. We'll agree to disagree. I'm sure that Patrick would be jumping out of his seat seeing Hurricanes as 19.5 point favourites as well. So something tells me he might also be on the plus there. Game of the round next. You probably have to say Brumbies Blues.
Yep, second v
one. Yeah.
Where?
I presume the Brumbies are still second. Yeah.
On differential.
On differential. Yeah, that'd be right. So Brumbies, coming off that sort of. They weren't bad against Crusaders.
It wasn't a bad performance.
No.
It wasn't. They were up against a very, very good Crusaders side who were performing close, quite near to their peak.
Yeah.
And then the Brumbies were slightly undermanned. Slightly. No.
Well, you imagine if you reverse it, Crusaders Brumbies, Moana's out and Fergus Burke starting at 10 and Lolosea starting at 10 for the
big difference.
Yeah.
Big
and that was I think, and I think you said it before, I think Lolosea being out, I don't know whether we sort of undervalued how big of an out that was, but yeah, it was big. He's back this week. Still no Valentini, and I see Jerome Brown's out as well. So the sort of hurt for the Brumbies loose forward stocks, but Tom Hooper, he was probably one of their best in the park last week, I thought. He's starting at 6, and Samu's back at 8, and got Luke Raymer playing at 7, who I don't know too much about. And the rest of the backline sort of the same. The Brumbies backline, there's definitely some excitement there, eh?
There is.
Muirhead and Wright and on the wings, and Tom Banks at the back, and Simone and Ikitau in the centre. Simone, he got double, and he was huge against the
Crusaders.
Crusaders, yeah. So where do you think? Where are you sort of leaning with this one? You got any hot takes?
Can't go past the Blues.
Yeah.
With the form they're in, and if they do win this week, they can take the week off next week. They've got the number 1 spot all wrapped up if they win this week.
Who have they got next week, you know? Must be someone not. Jura? No, they play Jura. Rebels.
Who's the only Australian team they haven't played?
Waratahs.
Tars.
Yeah.
They can take the week off.
Yeah.
They can. So
rest some of the big guns.
Yes, yeah. And have a nice little waltz into the finals. Rest at home. I don't know who they'll be taking on. Oh no, they will be, won't they? Is it 1v8 or is it 1v?
It'll be 1v8, yeah. I imagine
they'll be playing probably the Highlanders.
Highlanders, probably.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just the way they played. They just played so well last week, even with that early disruption with Rico going off. It made no difference.
Yeah.
They just continued on. They, dare I say, they're starting to play, or they're starting to have a system, Crusader-like, where players come in and the game just keeps rolling on.
Yeah.
So I like the way they've been playing. -6.5. I think they can cover that quite easily, and have the week off next week. So Blues for me.
There you go. A few stats for you punters out there. Anyone wanting to see what I've got for you? Brumbies have won 3 of the last 5 in Canberra. So Blues have won 2 of the last 5 in Canberra, though. So worth pointing out for you. Brumbies, great at home. They've won 23 of the last 27 overall. And for the Blues, they've now won 7 straight on the road. So they've become a pretty good road team. So it's a pretty good road team versus a pretty good home team. And they're obviously on that 11-game win streak, and they've won 18 of their last 19. So are you not worried that the Blues will sort of come into the finals if they win this with 1 loss? You know, do you feel like you need to have a couple of losses just to sort of bring you back down to earth, or you reckon this team can just bounce back and bounce on?
They've got something good going on up at Auckland, so just keep rolling.
I had a wee look through some of the previous years. I think in 2017, the Crusaders team only had 1 loss, and that obviously didn't affect them. But before that, you had to look quite far back to see a team that only lost 1 come into the finals. I don't know. The Brumbies have been pretty good to me this season from a betting perspective. They've been pretty reliable, so I think I'll be probably just leaning towards the plus.
Oh.
So we're not all on the same page with every game here, which is always good. To finish it off, I don't know, a game which I probably wouldn't have been that excited about a few weeks ago, but I think it should be quite good. Sunday afternoon. I think it's at Forsyth Bar. The Highlanders hosting the Waratahs as 10.5-point favourites. And we asked last week, Highlanders, what were they, 16.5 against the Force? Was that too much? And it wasn't. Is 10.5 points too much against this Waratahs team?
I do like the Tars team, but with Parisi out, he's a huge part of that. Not just the back line, but the team as a whole.
Yeah.
As you said, the Highlanders have been getting better and better each week for the past 2 or 3 weeks. I just don't know how, because there's not a lot to play for really for the Highlanders, apart from the fact to keep that momentum going. So it's a hard one to pick. I mean, if they play like they did against the Force, they'll put another big score on the Tars. If the Tars were fully fit, I'd be very, very happy to take the plus 10.5 because I think they can. They've got the team that is capable. That they really have. Even though the Highlanders have improved over the last year, the Waratahs improved out of sight. I've been very impressed with the way they've gone about their business. So this one's a hard one for me to take a lean. I'm sort of thinking. I'm thinking the Highlanders minus 10.5 at the moment.
Shocked to hear where I'm going with this one. Yeah, I with Parisi out, it's huge, isn't it? But 10.5, they seem to have improved a lot. Like, it's amazing that they didn't win a game for 2 years, and they've now won sort of 4 of their last 6. And one of those games was that game against the Crusaders, which I think the Crusaders rested a couple of players, but on the whole, like they gave it to Crusaders and sort of showed what they can do. Tars should have won last week, and they've been a reliable betting team. They've covered 14 of their last 20. Head-to-head, the Highlanders have won 6 of the last 8, and they have won 6 straight at home. So I don't know if I'll be jumping into the Waratahs head-to-head, although maybe they'll feature in my betting later on. But yeah, I don't know. Highlanders have covered 5 of the last 11 as home favourites. So maybe they're good head-to-head at home, but from against the spread perspective, maybe not so much. If Parisi was in, I would have been jumping into the plus, but I'm still kind of. I think I'll go on the minus, but with not a heap of confidence.
Right.
Hopefully, I've filled you with confidence and backing me there, guys. So might as well hit the best bets unless there's anything else you want to talk about from round 14.
I'm ready for some bets.
Ready for some bets? Well, what's your best bet of round 14?
Drew it plus 30.5.
Oh, talk you into it.
You did.
I'm going to regret this, but mine's Hurricanes minus 19.
Wowee.
I reckon they'll put on a show, and
Oh, they always put a show on.
remind the punters, what they're capable of. There's plenty of talent in that back line, and I think that Rebels, there might have been an overreaction from that Rebels win against the Chiefs. So we'll see. Have you got a value bet for us?
I do, and it's in the Brumbies Blues match, and I'm going to take the Blues 13 and over.
You know what that's paying?
Yep, it is paying 260.
Nice. I'm also going to go the Brumbies and Blues match.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to go halftime, full-time. Brumbies halftime, Blues full-time at $4.
Oh, we can both win.
Yeah, we can both win, absolutely. Just need a
big second half
Brumbies
from the
to be
Blues.
up by one, a last-minute penalty, and then, big second half from the Blues. Everyone's laughing. Upset alert.
I don't really see any sort of team, any outsider upsetting this weekend.
Yeah.
So I've had a look at there's some power plays in the Crusaders Drawer match, and they've just disappeared off my page. So you give us your upset.
Well, I said before I wouldn't be jumping into them head-to-head, but yeah, it is called an upset alert for a reason. Waratahs at $4 against the Hondas. No, Parisi kind of throws a bit of a spanner in the works there, but I think that it's a team that's improved a lot. The Hondas are improving, but they did still lose 7 or 8 games in a row early in the season. So I've put them as my upset. I was tempted to go with the Brumbies as well, but I do think the Blues would just be too good. Found it?
I have. I quite like the look of it too. I do like the look of it. Leicester Whainuku to score a try in each half, 5.50.
Wow. I love that. 5.50.
5.50 to score a try in each half, Whainuku.
Because he'll probably play the whole game. I don't know. I think they've got maybe Bridge on the bench or something. Yeah, love that. Jump in, punters. We, of course, have Super Rugby bonus back on offer this weekend. Place a winning team margin bet. If your team wins but by the wrong margin, you'll get your money back as a bonus bet up to $50. Check the Punters Lounge for T's and C's on that. Do you have a bonus back bet for us?
Yeah, Canes 1 to 12 at 380.
Nice. I think they'll cover in 13 plus, but probably a good one.
Just in case they don't.
Fair enough. I'm going to go Reds 1 to 12 at $3.40. I think more Pacifica might put up a bit of a fight and it might be a little bit closer. I don't think they'll win, but to get $3.40 for that and to have the insurance of the bonus bet, not bad. We also have a multi-buster on offer. There's a 4+, 6+, 8+ league multi, and if you lose by a certain amount of leagues, sorry, I haven't done this before. Just lose by a certain amount of leagues, you'll get your money back as a bonus bet. Just check the Punters Lounge with T's and C's on how many leagues you're allowed to lose by and how many leagues you're allowed to have.
Take a 4 or more league overball multi.
Lose 1.
1 league.
6.
6 or more league.
2.
2. 8 or more league overball multi.
3.
You can lose by 3 and get a bonus bet.
How good. What's going on with all your multis, Paul?
Well, crikey, the Crusaders at $1. No, okay, I won't be taking that.
$1.20 or more, remember?
I'm going to take the Highlanders, $1.22.
Yeah. Fair enough. I do have the Waratahs as my upset alert, but you get your $1.20. I'm surprised you were able to find the $1.20 option there. I'm going to go Hurricanes minus $7.5, $1.25. Yeah, I think they'll win. They'll win comfortably, and chucking that in all my multis with probably a few try scorers, maybe one or two people in the Crusaders. I think that Crusaders Drawer game could be a great game for a same game multi as well. So a little try score one. So having we got that. So we'll hit the against at the line.
Yep.
Start on Friday night. Crusaders Drawer. You can probably tell where you're
Drawer.
going with this one. Plus, I'm gonna go Drawer as well. Actually, Reds Moana Pacifica.
Reds.
7.5. Moana Pacifica. Chiefs Force 24.5.
Chiefs.
Oh, Chiefs. Yeah, they'll bounce back. Hurricanes Rebels.
No Artie, no cover. Rebels.
Hurricanes. Just see if there's a stat for that. It'd be amazing. I reckon that you'd be surprised. Eh?
Oh, so they're better without him.
Yeah. No. I'm very much not implying that. But this is going to be the exception to the rule this week. I'm going to go Hurricanes minus 19.5. Brumbies Blues plus
Blues.
6.5. I'll go Brumbies. And Highlanders Waratahs.
Highlanders.
I'll go Tars. So one of us is going to be right at least this week. One of us is going to get a few right after last week.
Yeah, well,
Hopefully.
I can't get any worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I can, but only just. So we're relying on hopefully Patrick will send his tips through.
No, too late.
He runs the sheet.
He's already lost.
He's already lost.
Lost. He's
Called
0
it.
he's 0 from 6.
Give him the home teams.
0 from 6.
Oh, good. Well, thanks for listening, everyone, for another week of the Pick and Go podcast for the TAB. Hope you enjoy another great round of Super Rugby Pacific. And we'll be back. I think Patrick's hopefully Patrick's allowed to go to Fiji next week. We're a bit worried about whether he might have the C word or not.
Someone
So
alert the Fijian authorities.
We'll see. So Paul and I will be back, and we might be able to bring a special guest on to help us preview the final round of Super Rugby Pacific next week. So cheers for
Good.
listening.
Yeah.
And good luck on the punt.